Hello, you guys. It has been a minute. I am just currently, Rosemary just helped me make a batch of granola, and so I am prepping that, getting it ready to go in the oven. And honestly, if you have not tried my recipe for granola, it's on my website. I will link it in the description. It is so good. And right now, with the inflated prices of eggs, like, we have needed very much to change up some of our breakfast routine, because we were a family that was eating 10 eggs a day, mostly for breakfast. Plus I did a lot of, home cooked meals that required eggs, whether it was like an egg wash or in baking, whatever it was. And so we were going through at least a dozen eggs a day, okay? A day. So, as you can imagine, our spending habits and our grocery habits have had to change a lot in the last couple weeks, as the price of eggs at my local grocery store is going, it fluctuates. Sometimes on the low end it's like $6, and sometimes it goes up to $8 for a dozen of, like, the non-cage free, the simple basic eggs. It's insane. So granola, I feel like, is such a good way to, make a little parfait, add some good breakfast rotations in there to help curb this egg craziness. Today, I'm actually changing it up a little bit. Usually I use oats as a base and then add a bunch of nuts and all that sort of thing. Today, I'm using nuts as my base, just to, like, get more and more protein in there to keep us fuller longer. We have been blessed with a 59-degree day, and it's sunny, and it's so beautiful. So while I have that granola in the oven, we're gonna take a little walk down to our neighbors. We borrowed some socks, so we need to return those. So it's a perfect excuse to get outside for a minute. Hi, I just wanted to touch base because I have been totally MIA. We have not had internet for over 4 weeks. We actually finally do have internet now at this point. We just got it back a couple days ago. But I've been completely offline. My house is an old, over 100-year-old house with plaster walls, meaning it's almost like a dead zone in my house. So without Wi-Fi, I really can't use it. And we've had no Wi-Fi. So I've been completely unplugged for like a month now, which in a lot of ways it has been great, and in a lot of ways has been extremely frustrating, but basically that's where I've been. When we first ran out of internet, like the last video I posted, I was like waking up at 5 a.m. to go to a coffee shop to upload the video, and I was like, this is dumb. Like, this is not that important to, like, my sleep, because I had to get out before Dan left for work, so we had to trade, it was just like a logistically thing that way. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna unplug. So that's where I've been. The internet debacle is a whole thing. All had to do with, we've had extremely bad weather, winter weather in Cincinnati where I am. Severe snowstorms, record snow levels. Our street doesn't have poles, everything is buried. They couldn't bury a new line. Just got a little trickster on my hands over here. A whole thing, but we finally have internet again, so I should be back to a regular cadence. And I have a lot of things going on, so I'm excited to share with you. Got the kids from school, got the granola kind of stacked and put away there, so now it is time to move on to dinner. And tonight we're having chicken wings, buffalo chicken wings. I got this Primal Kitchen buffalo sauce with avocado oil for Christmas from my mother-in-law, and I haven't used it yet, so I'm kind of excited to use it tonight. I don't like spicy things in general, but for some reason, I crave buffalo sauce every once in a while. Buffalo chicken dip, like buffalo wings. Sometimes I do. So I'm gonna go ahead and dry cook these without any sauce, so that way the kids who don't want it don't have to have it, and we can have this kind of on the side or with half or whatever. And then the mac and cheese, if you've been around town, one of my cooking hacks is to, if you have like a meal that everybody loves, make double when you're making it. Have one today, freeze one for later. And so today we're having the freezed one for later, the mac and cheese that is already cooked. I just had to thaw, and I will reheat for dinner tonight, so that's super easy. Celery sticks with dinner, because who doesn't like ranch and celery with their wings? So I'm gonna cut that up, and now on to making the chicken wings. I get the ones with the skin because I think it's just so nice to have a little crunch. And what I always do is put them on a baking sheet like this and pat them dry. I feel like that's really the secret to getting a really nice crispy skin wing, is to make sure that they are nice and dry. So always do this step kind of first, massage them dry. Once I have them nice and dry, I use tongs to kind of transfer them into a baggie here, and I have these nice little stands that makes it really super easy. I can link those in the description. And then in layers, so right now I have 3 pieces in there, I will add some baking powder, not soda, important. And in total, I'm gonna do 5 tablespoons of the baking powder and about 3.5, maybe 4 tablespoons of salt. But I do it in batches. That way, even though I'm gonna like shake it in the bag, I feel like it still gets more evenly distributed if I do it in layers, so that it just, I don't know, comes out better, I'm telling you. Alternatively, you can mix them in a bowl. It's actually, I think, easier to distribute it in a bowl and just like toss it, but I am doing dishes tonight because Dan's gone, and so it's one less dish, you know? So now I have them on this baking dish. What I did today is put aluminum foil at the bottom. Typically I use a silicone baking mat, but again, I just used it for the granola and I forgot I could just repurpose it, and I have it in the sink, and I was like, I am not doing another silicone and doing 2 of those dishes. Obviously I hate dishes, so aluminum foil it is for me. And then like a cooling rack I usually put here. That way like the bottom can get crispy too. I put the chicken on top, always in 1 layer. This is 4 pounds of chicken, about. And then I'm gonna put that in the oven at a low temperature. I have it at 250 right now. And so I'm gonna bake that at 250 for like 30 minutes. And then I'm gonna crank the heat to like 425 and cook it a little longer. So for now, pop that in the oven, prep the celery, and then just hang out. So those wings need 70 minutes in total. They'll be 250 for 30, and then I'll crank up the heat to like 425 and cook another 40 minutes. So a lot of bake time, which is like cool because now it's perfect weather outside, so we can just hang out until dinner's ready. But I did want to note, so I use my carpool pickup line time. I try to use it wisely so that it's not wasted. So if my car needs to be cleaned out and I've got a bunch of trash or something, I'll try to pick it up. If you know, when I was pregnant and I needed to do like a ton of cat camels every day, I would literally go to the back seat of the car, like put down a seat and do my cat camels in the car during like while I was waiting for school pickup. Right now I am using that time to practice my Korean, and I think I mentioned, well, I've mentioned that I am trying to learn Korean. And so I've been using that to practice. Well, over the last month that I've been away from you guys, we are moving to more complicated sentences in my program. I'm using a program right now called Teuda, and I don't have the time to practice these sentences. And so instead of like, the whole goal was to do like 1 lesson a day. And it's kind of, if you know Duolingo, it's kind of like that, except for it's speaking. And so you can have streaks. And I was on like a good, I think a 47-day streak prior to like last week. And I just didn't have enough time to practice the vocabulary and the connecting words, like all the things. Like basically it's getting harder. I ruined my streak. And even during school pickup today, like I couldn't even get through a full lesson. So all that is to say, I am at the point right now where I feel like overwhelmed and want to give up, but I am not going to give up, and I'm going to keep working at it. And I feel like it's also the time where I realize that even though I think I'm getting much better at it, if I was to hear a native speaker like speak to me, I would probably have no clue what they were saying, because, you know, they speak so fast comparatively to the rate that you're learning. And I remember when I was learning Spanish, and then I went to Colombia, and I was talking to the person who was renting us their house, and she started speaking, and I immediately shut down. Like, that's when it first occurred to me, like, oh, what I was learning is not like how they're speaking. And I just was so overwhelmed. Thankfully, my husband speaks Spanish because he lived in Argentina for a while. And so he spoke Spanish and was able to like take the tour of the house and stuff. But that was like where I first realized this feeling that I'm having right now with Korean of like, oh my gosh, I thought I knew and I know nothing. And so I feel like I have never with a language gotten past this point. I took so many years of French, I took so many years of Spanish, and I never got past this hump, like to where I wanted to keep going even though I felt like I was just shutting down because I couldn't understand the language. So I feel like even though I'm overwhelmed and want to shut down, it's like kind of cool that I'm not feeling like I want to quit and give up and that I'll never get it. So yeah, it's getting harder. I need more time to practice, even though I don't have the time, so it's taking me much longer to get through the lessons. And I'm gonna have to just learn at a slower rate than maybe I could at one time in my life, but I'm pushing forward and I don't know, stick to those goals, even if they have to change a bit. Right out of the oven, you can see how nice and crispy these are. And then I tossed these ones in the buffalo sauce. I've got the macaroni and cheese warming up. I went ahead and did the dishes and took a shower when Dan got home from work so that I can be productive after I put the kids to bed since he will be gone tonight, and work on other things. So yeah, time to call them in and have dinner and get ready for bedtime. So good to talk to you all. So good to see you. I will be back again with some new stuff here soon. Thank you for keeping up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.